Nehemiah is working towards rebuilding the walls about Jerusalem. He has taken upon himself a very needed work and a very blessed work, because he is doing the work that the Lord will have him to do. Amen. And you didn't read in that text anywhere where Nehemiah said that it was simple. Or that it was easy to do. But what the text does tells us, and it does show us, that Nehemiah was doing the work that God would have him to do. Amen. Amen. And at the same time, don't miss the point that the text illustrates also. Although Nehemiah is doing the work that God would have him to do as far as rebuilding the wall, Nehemiah runs into distractions along the way. Amen. Now, isn't that just like people of this life? That when you're on your life journey and you are building on a work for God, every now and then some distractions will come along. Amen. Amen. And what I see here in this text is that I see that the enemy, even in this work that Nehemiah is doing, the enemy is busy. Amen. And his purpose and his goal is to stop the perfection of this work that is going forth. Amen. But now, don't get me wrong, you won't see the enemy literally in this text, because we have to know how to identify the enemy when he comes. The enemy doesn't have to appear in a literal form himself, because he works through people a lot of times.
Come on, preacher.
Amen. Amen. If you look here, we have 2 or 3 characters in this text that the enemy is using to try to get Nehemiah to stop the work of God. Amen. But Nehemiah here illustrates that, number one, that it seems that he is one of whom, when he gives himself to a task, that he gives himself wholeheartedly 100%. Amen. In other words, what I'm saying this morning is that when you're doing a work for the Lord, you have to make sure that you are rooted and you are grounded in your commitment. Because if you're not, there will be some distractions and some temptations that will come your way that will derail you from the work that God has you to do. Amen. Amen. By example, Bethlehem, this morning, you might look around and I see this morning that you have a lot of available space in your church this morning. Amen. But however, let me just say to you this morning that don't look at the available space and allow that to cause you to come down off of your wall.
Come on, Pastor.
What I'm saying is that you need to make the work of God your focus. And not the absence of who you don't see here. Because you see, distractions will cause you to be delayed in doing the work of God. Amen. Yeah, just like Nehemiah, you have to be willing and dedicated and committed to stand on the wall. To continue to do the work that God will have you to do. Amen. If the truth be told, this work that Nehemiah does on this wall, if we could get a visual picture of that wall, you would probably see some cracks in that wall. You would probably see some places that had holes knocked in it in that wall. You would probably see a section that was even missing out of that wall. But the point of the matter is that this is the work that God would have Nehemiah to do. And so he have dedicated and he have committed himself to repairing that wall. And church, when you're doing the work for God and in his kingdom, I'm here to tell you this morning that you have to stand and stand firmly on what God has called you to do. Amen. It doesn't matter if the skeptics tell you that you can't make it. You just stay on the wall, Bethlehem. It doesn't matter if the skeptics tell you that you're losing members after members. You just stay on the wall, Bethlehem. It doesn't matter if the skeptic tells you that, oh, your church ain't going nowhere. Bethlehem, you stay on the wall. You just keep on building, Bethlehem. It doesn't matter if they tell you that, oh, you're not going to get the finances to take care of this. You'll never raise enough money to take care of that. I'm here to tell you, Bethlehem, you just stay on the wall this morning and keep on building for the Lord. And the reason why I can tell you that, Bethlehem, because when I look at this text this morning, I see the skeptics, Sister Chief, telling Nehemiah, stop the work that you're doing. Come on down here and let us talk to you for a while. Come on and let's go and hang out over here for a while. After all, that wall's not important that you're building on. But you see, those are the skeptics and the influence that the adversary has to offer. But I'm here to tell you, Bethlehem, this morning that don't worry about the skeptics. If you own the wall for the Lord, you just keep on building for the Lord. Because one thing that I know about doing the work for God, if God tells you to do the work, the task might seem hard for you to do. But then again, God's not going to tell you to do anything that he won't stand by you to see that it comes to pass. Just keep on building on the wall, Bethlehem. When nobody want to hear what you got to say about the Lord, just stay on the wall, Bethlehem. When nobody want to support your program, just stay on the wall, Bethlehem. Just keep on building for God. And the reason I say that is because, you see, Nehemiah was dedicated to the cause that he was involved in. Nehemiah just kept on building on that wall. He wouldn't let the skeptic cause him to come down from the work that God would have him to do. He just kept on building on that wall. And times might get tough for you here at Bethlehem, but you just keep on building on that wall. The skeptic's going to come along and try to ridicule you, but you just keep on building on the wall. They're going to try to discourage you along your way, but you just keep on building on the wall. They're going to try to get you to abandon the work of the Lord, but you just keep on building on the wall. When they come along, tell them like Nehemiah told them, why should I put God's work on hold to come down and get involved in your foolishness? Just keep on building on the wall. Because these people will cause you to fall away from the will and the work of God. But the thing about it is that once you fall, where are you going to fall to? You're going to fall into the snares of the enemy. That's the reason that Nehemiah wouldn't come down off the wall. Because he knew the importance of doing the work of the Lord. He stayed on the wall during hard times. He stayed on the wall during persecution times. They wanted to bring Nehemiah down off the wall so that they could take him off somewhere and do him harm. And the reason for that is because the skeptics didn't care nothing about the Jews anyway. They didn't want to see the Jews reestablish the temple for worshiping. They didn't want to see the secureness of the wall around Jerusalem. But Nehemiah knew that he was on a mission. And the mission that he was on was one from God. And Nehemiah was dedicated to God. Nehemiah was committed unto God. Nehemiah was faithful unto God. And therefore Nehemiah wasn't thinking about the foolishness of the skeptics. He told them in a polite manner. He told them that I'm serving and doing the work of an awesome God. And I'm not going to come down from doing the work of the God to endeavor and involve myself in your foolishness. Bethlehem, stay on the wall. Don't let nothing stop you or let nothing hold you back. Just keep on working. When you come here on Sunday morning, you don't see but 5 or 6 people up in here. Just remember that there's 5 or 6 that is working on God's part. Just keep on working. Don't let the enemy hold you back. When I look at Psalms, the 84th number of the Psalm, in the 10th verse, David displays an attitude. David says that for a day in the courts is better than 1,000. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. And if you really look at it, Nehemiah was saying that I'd rather be ridiculed by you than to dwell in wickedness. I'd rather be talked about by you than to be one of you. I would rather have you slander my name than to get involved in your foolishness. Nehemiah understood the importance of staying on the wall. Because see, if Nehemiah